because keeping the public informed is one of the most important things we can do right now. We're also providing additional resources for public health units and hospitals, such as enhanced access to screening, expanded lab testing capacity, and new measures to keep frontline workers safe.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford updating us from Queen's Park today on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News and Rogers TV.
Yesterday, we released a new online self-assessment tool. You can find this at ontario.ca/coronavirus. This is an excellent resource, and we encourage the public to use it from home. Before visiting a COVID-19 testing center, please, I say please, use this tool to determine if you need to seek care. And please don't visit an assessment center unless you're showing symptoms. Keeping our seniors safe right now is one of our top priorities. And that's why we've told long-term care homes to limit non-essential visitors and step up screening procedures at the door. This situation is changing rapidly, but I want the people of Ontario to know that your government has your back. We're looking out for Ontario workers and families during this difficult time. We need to support the workers affected by this. A lot of people can work from home, but we need to protect the people working the line or doing shift work who don't have that luxury. And the last thing we want right now is for people to worry about job security. That's why I've asked our team to start drafting legislation to protect workers and families. If this law is passed, it will ensure that if you are in quarantine because you're experiencing symptoms or you've been asked to self-isolate, you will not lose your job. If you're a parent and you need to stay home to look after the kids while schools are closed, you will not lose your job. And we're going to remove the requirement for a doctor's note if you are in isolation at home due to COVID-19 symptoms. I want to thank the business community who have already taken steps to keep their employees and customers safe. And as Minister Elliott and I said over the weekend, we need to have each other's back right now. Check in on seniors and those most vulnerable. Make sure they're okay. And I will say this again, there's no need, I emphasize this, there's no need to rush out to stores and to panic buy and hoard essential items that we will need. I've personally spoken to the vast majority of major retailers in Ontario, and they've assured me that our supply chain is currently able to handle the additional pressure. When I spoke to these retailers, the first thing I said was, what can the province do for you? By the end of the conversation, many of them were offering services within their organizations to help with capacity and addition. At a time when it matters most. There's plenty of food and household essentials to go around. Be prepared, but let's make sure there's enough for everyone. As Canadians, we need to continue looking out for each other. And that's exactly what we're doing with today's announcement. I'll hand things over to Mr. McNaughton now to share more details about the
Labour Minister Monty McNaughton about to take the microphone at Queen's Park as the province updates us on the coronavirus pandemic. We just heard from Premier Ford. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News and Rogers TV.
Our government's top priority. In this time of uncertainty, we need to support workers who need to isolate or quarantine themselves or need to care for loved ones. No one should lose their job because they listen to the best advice of medical professionals. This is why today I'm announcing our government will introduce legislation that, if passed, will amend the Employment Standards Act to provide job protection for employees unable to work. That includes employees under investigation.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
I'm Shay Harold from Generation Z, here to talk about all things important to my generation. We'll talk about politics, healthy living, education, and all things important. Join me at 7:30 p.m. on Saturdays for Generation Z.
It was our 35th anniversary. To celebrate, we were on our way to Mama Rosie's, where we had our first date. That's when we heard coming from the radio. So we stopped and listened. It helped us get to safety. So when I think of our anniversary, because now we have even more to celebrate.
I'm Mallory, and I was walking home one night when an impaired driver hit me. He had been overserved in 2 bars before getting behind the wheel. If the servers would have called him a cab instead of serving him more alcohol, my life would be the same as what it used to be. I think servers play the biggest role in keeping us safe because it's up to them what state the person's in when they leave. Refusing service isn't personal, it's the law.
Whether it's in the kitchen
Bibimbap.
Bibimbap.
There you go.
I love it.
or at the table,
Let's get rid of all of those cards. Keep 2.
Natasha McKenty serves up fun and interesting conversation.
It can really position you as an expert in your particular niche or industry.
Get details about upcoming events, the how-to on a new recipe, or discover a local author. In studio,
It's pink.
Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. on Rogers TV.
This is Rogers TV.
even if they have events with less than 250 people, to please do what they can in order to facilitate the ability for their patrons to maintain social distancing.
So can you bring up the DMUX 3?
Muted.
Keep going.
Okay. The other thing is, although the Chief Medical Officer of Health recommended that active screening be done in childcare, daycare settings, if the daycare, childcare operators feel that they cannot operationalize such recommendations, then I would recommend that they do not go forward with operations. And lastly, I'd like to say actually thank you to the young people that we've been hearing from and more from, that they are taking a stand and they are not going to participate in the Ezra Street Party. I would like to applaud them. As Mayor Jaworski said, we have a lot of young, bright students in our community. And as Chief Larkin has said, we have a lot of young, responsible people in our community. And I am heartened to hear from more and more of our young people letting us know that they also want to protect our community and especially our most vulnerable. So I want to thank them, and I want to ask them to continue to encourage their friends and their acquaintances to also do the right thing and to stand up for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wong. Now I'd like to invite Chair Redmond to make some comments.
Again, I'd like to thank you all for being on this virtual press conference, and just to underscore that these are challenging times and that we have people working around the clock to bring the best information. The most up-to-date, accurate information continues to be through public health locally, and thank you to our trusted media sources for making sure that that message is getting out. We know that there are decisions that are being made both at the provincial and federal level, and later today we will have press conferences with the Premier and the Prime Minister. So we need to acknowledge that there is a shifting landscape, and we will continue to bring the best information forward with the local impact for residents. And I especially want to thank, as Dr. Wong was saying, the residents in Waterloo region who have stepped up to ask elderly neighbors, to ask people who may be self-isolating if there's things that they need so that they can be helpful. This community can get through anything, and it will get through this, but there is no doubt that this is a challenging time, and there are a lot of people who will have to change their way of life, and indeed there will be fallout economically for this. So we're talking to the business community as well, and really appreciate the collaboration of all the players in Waterloo region.
Muted.
Good. Thanks, Karen. CEO Mike Murray.
Yeah, so I'll just add some really quick updates to things that the region announced yesterday in terms of...
Sorry, can you guys hear me? It's Kate from CDC.
Yes, we can. Yes, Kate, we can hear you very clearly. And we'll take questions in about 2 minutes.
Hello? No. I can't hear anything.
Can you hear us?
Kate, is this...
We can hear you via YouTube. There's a bit of an audio issue. If you want to just keep going on muting them, and we'll figure it out.
Okay, so just really quick updates in terms of the implications on operations of the regional municipality of Waterloo. So we announced yesterday...
Sorry, guys, I'm on the go-to meeting.
Brian, can you just reiterate? We're figuring out audio. They need to mute their phone.
Yeah, just Kate and to others, if you could just please mute your phone. We're trying to resolve a couple issues at this point in time. So just resolve a couple issues at this point in time.
Should we keep going?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So just to reiterate, changes that we made to regional operations yesterday to try to keep implementing this whole idea of kind of social distancing, creating more space between more people. So we have closed 5 directly operated regional childcare centers. We've closed regional libraries in the townships. The region operates libraries in the townships. We've closed all of our museums. And then very late yesterday, we heard from the Ministry of the Attorney General that they were closing the courts. And so in terms of regional operations, that affects the provincial offences courts. So provincial offences courts are closed as of this morning. We are working on other, I would say, internal changes to try to minimize interpersonal contact between people. We're looking at staff work from home policies, and we're looking at basically changing meeting policies, avoiding any non-essential meetings, and we'll work the details of that out over the course of today and be making changes internally probably starting tomorrow.
Thanks, Mike. Now we'll open it to questions in order of the roll call. Mark, do you want to lead off?
Unmuted.
And be making changes internally probably starting tomorrow.
Thanks, Mike. Now we'll open it to questions in order of the roll call. Mark, do you want to lead off?
So we're having technical difficulties. You need to remind them to mute their YouTube, and there might be a lag.
Yeah, again.
This isn't publicly broadcast.
Yeah, again, my apologies. We are having technical difficulties. If you could please mute your YouTube. And again, there is a bit of a lag. So, Mark, are you able to ask the first question? Now we'll open it to questions in order of the roll call. Mark, do you want to lead off? Yeah, again. Again, my apologies. We are having technical difficulties. If you could please mute your YouTube. And again, there is a bit of a lag. So, Mark, are you able to ask the first question? Joanna or Kate, I don't know if this issue is unique to Mark. If either of you want to attempt to ask a question, it would be appreciated.
I hope I can ask a question.
It's from the meeting. It goes to meetings. Yeah. I'm going to call it. So,
Okay.
so it looks like we can't get the other door, right? I just do that quickly, otherwise I think.
You know what?
Let's call Kate.
You know what?
I got it. Okay.
Just a second.
It appears that we're not able to resolve the technical issues. To Mark, Kate, and Joanna, I will reach out to you individually and set up interviews over via the phone. So again, my apologies. I'll call you shortly.
Okay. Sorry guys, we'll have to, that wasn't publicly broadcast, it was just a handful of meeting and a couple staff, so we'll have to find a better way.
All right.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
My husband is a wonderful man and a great father when he's not drinking. I'm so angry he chooses alcohol over us. If he really loved us, he'd stop drinking, right? My counselor suggested I try Al-Anon. I didn't understand why. I'm not the one with the problem, but I'm glad I went. Do you worry about someone's drinking? You are not alone. Al-Anon or Alateen can help. Call 866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Hyperlocal news focused on what's happening in your community, your region this week. All local, all year round. Fridays at 7 p.m. right here on Rogers TV.
Calling all bowlers for the 5th annual Roll and Bowl Tournament in support of Spinal Cord Injury Ontario. It happens on Tuesday, March 24th, starting at 6 p.m. The fundraiser is being held at Binghamton's Kingpin Bowl Lounge. The Roll and Bowl will raise vital funds for people with spinal cord injuries and other disabilities. This year's fundraising goal is $10,000. All you need is a team of 8 and lots of enthusiasm. The minimum donation to participate per person is $50. For more information about the 5th annual Roll and Bowl Tournament and other upcoming events, visit sciontario.org. There are only 20 lanes available, so register early to avoid missing out for the 5th annual Roll and Bowl Tournament in support of Spinal Cord Injury Ontario. Build a team, rebuild a life.
It started with a passion to innovate, with a young man determined to honor his father's legacy. By purchasing Canada's first FM radio station, he would change our communications landscape forever.
Now that exceeds my wildest dreams.
60 years ago, Ted Rogers started our company to connect Canadians to the people, places, and things that matter most, and to make more possible for all of us.
You can make more.
This is Rogers TV.
We're going to break away from our usual coverage so you can hear that. We want to bring you the information from the top officials who are monitoring this coronavirus pandemic. There's so much room for misinformation, and we want you to know that you can trust us. This afternoon, sometime around 1 p.m., the Prime Minister will be delivering an update from Ottawa. You will hear that with Brian Burke on Kitchener today. Let's go back to ranting or raving. It feels good, and maybe we need it now more than ever. We've still got time. 519-570-2545, star 570, 1-800-570-5715. Mark, good morning.
Hi, I'm very glad the government came out with the tools that they are using to try and fix the people that are going to be sort of out in the lurch. But I do have some concerns on because the government's never have any money to pay for things. So how are they going to pay for this? And another concern I have is with the stock market doing what it's doing, this being a flu just doesn't go away in a month or two. The flus that have been with us forever. So I don't know. I have a funny feeling, retirement savings plans, and I don't know how we're going to pay for all this stuff.
Mark, appreciate the call. My quick thoughts on that. How do we pay for all this stuff? I think this is, and you know, I'm getting less and less interested in the government being involved in various areas of my life. But I think this is where government is at its best, where we collectively are coming together to help those who need it the most. And I hear you. When we're crying poor all the time and we don't have the revenue for this or that, where is this going to come from? But this is what it's all about. This is collectively all of us paying in to help those of us who are in greatest need right now. As for the stock market and retirements, I can't. I just keep thinking that, there are all kinds of ups and downs in the market. And I'm hoping that by the time it's my turn to cash in on what's left of my savings, we've come back on the upswing here, because holy Hannah, it is a rough ride. I try not to look at it, but I understand the concern for sure. Rob, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. My rant is against our government and federal government, both governments. They should be doing what Quebec has done. Let's lock it down.
Yeah, I wonder too, Rob, if we've been a little slow in all of this.
Mike, you know how I feel about who I think they're useless. They should have been on top of this 2 months ago. They should have stopped flights coming in and out of China back then.
Sure.
Would have controlled it then.
But can't we put partisan politics aside here? I mean, the premier was asked today about bars, restaurants, movie theaters, etc., and he said it's a day-by-day situation. Why not just
let's fight it now before it gets worse?
This is what I mean. Yeah, Rob.
We had a chance to get on top of it, and we didn't. And who screwed that up? I hate to say.
All right, Rob. Okay, I appreciate the phone call, and all perspectives welcome during Rant or Rave. I understand that ire directed at the Prime Minister, and again, he will be on the air this afternoon, sometime around 1 p.m. with an update from Ottawa. John, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm thinking tomorrow's Green Day, St. Paddy's Day.
Yes, sir, it is.
I've never gone to Ezra, and I don't plan on going this year.
Well, you don't seem to be the type, John.
Anyways, I think we should make lemonade out of lemon. Instead of green, we'll have yellow ribbons all over the place, and we'll enhance lemonade at our bars. And then if you mix something in with it, that's your business. But if the bar wants to make money, they'll give you whatever they want made out of lemonade.
The problem is, John, come St. Paddy's Day, it's very difficult to direct the thousands of people who like to party outside illegally into a licensed establishment.
Well, yeah, it's because it's unsanctioned, so just sanction it. And then, they can have their party on Ezra and do whatever they want to do there, and we won't worry about it unless somebody complains. That's the problem. People complain, and then the police get involved.
I'm not sure that's the problem there, though, John.
Yeah, we complain about everything. There's bylaws this, bylaws that.
All right, I got you. I appreciate the call. I want to move on because, look, we've tried in the past to sanction it, even to a small degree with a licensed tent. Didn't work. I don't think this is just about complaining. I think this is about community safety more than ever. Jody, good morning.
Hi, I just wanted to comment today about with the coronavirus and everything. We got to pull together the ones left right now, so we can get through this. Those people that are going through that must be suffering a lot. And could use a little comfort or a little help here and there. And who wouldn't like to have a little bit of help when you're low, down and out or low?
All right, Jody, appreciate the call. The ones left, we're not falling like flies here, so let's not get too carried away. But I got a note from one of my neighbors this morning saying, listen, if it should come to pass that you or any member of your family falls ill and needs help, it's a phone call away, and we'll do whatever it is needed. That's our little neighborhood kind of responding to this in a community way. I love it. Helen, good morning.
Good morning. I'm very upset with our government's inaction. They've known, and we all have been hearing for months now that, people who are traveling, they are bringing it in, they are being ill, and fantastically, these people just found out, yet they arrived, they already knew that they were ill, and we keep our borders open. Why not to lockdown for 2 weeks or for 3 weeks? Let everybody stay where they are. Let them get better. Let us get better. Let it resolve. I mean, this is, it's not nice. We have another case. We have another case of a traveler from this and this and this place. Let's lock it down. Let everybody stay where they are.
Helen, I appreciate the phone call. I hear where you're coming from, and you're not alone in that. Bob, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Okay, my concern is, like, we're putting all these institutions and everything else, the bars closed, this and that, yet the idiot buyers are causing more problems than everything that you close down. You go to the stores, it's a bunch of people close to each other. They're buying, they're hoarding everything, and this is the big problem. That's the one you got to solve.
All right, Bob. That sounds to me like solving the Ezra Avenue party. I don't know how you solve people's irrational behaviors. People going to be irrational. It's kind of how we are sometimes. Chris, good morning.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Actually, I got a rave.
Okay, I'd love to hear one. We could use it.
I want to thank you and everybody with the Kinsmen for doing the Kinsmen auction. This was one of the first years I've actually done it online, too, and watched on TV. And it's just great to see you guys out there doing something, to raise money for the community and everything during these times. So I wanted to give you thumbs up for going out and doing that stuff.
Chris, I really appreciate that. The 56th annual Kinsmen TV auction was on Rogers TV this past Saturday from noon until 4. It worked perfectly with social distancing and all of that. You could sit in the comfort of your own home and bid on all manner of goods and services. I don't have a final total raised yet, but it's usually around $30,000. I was asked to help out and was more than happy to do so. And in exchange for that, Kin, which has been a longtime supporter of Cystic Fibrosis Canada, made a $1,000 donation to the Farwell for Hire campaign in support of cystic fibrosis research. An incredible effort. The work that these men and women put into this auction every year is incredible. And the money gets turned right back into the community. Good rave by you, Chris. Kim, you're getting the last word this morning on Rant or Rave.
Thank you. Okay. With the Ezra party, all they have to do is pull in the military. That will solve the whole issue.
All right, Kim, not the first person to say that today, although after somebody said that earlier, I got an email saying, what are these people thinking? The military to stop an unsanctioned student party? Why not? Brian Burke is in studio. Kitchener Today begins at noon. Not much to talk about today. Brian, I don't know how you're going to fill the 3 hours.
No, I have no idea. And actually, every time we fill the 3 hours, we change it again anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting times, huh?
Aren't they, though?
You know what? But there is some good out there. The building that we live in, which is at the Barrel Yards. There are a group of women, one of them is my wife, who went around and dropped off notes underneath people's doors saying, look, if you can't get out or you don't feel safe going out, let us know. And we will do some things for you. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? We're having the same thing happening in our neighborhood right now.
There's a Facebook group called Caremongers, which I spotted on Saturday as I was trolling around, and it's gotten some publicity doing the same thing on a citywide basis. That's awesome. There are some good things here. I think that's important to keep that in mind.
I think you're absolutely right.
We will replay this afternoon the Region of Waterloo Health Office News Conference. We think that's important. We will, of course, go to the Prime Minister live at 1 o'clock to see what's going to be announced there. I still can't get over the fact that they teased it last night. That was just stupid. I don't know what got into their minds there. You don't tease, yeah, we're going to announce something tomorrow. You don't do that.
I hope that what they are announcing, irrespective of your great point about teasing the announcement, but let's do something about what's happening in our airports right now.
Yeah,
that's what I'd like to hear today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I've seen that stuff. I think 2020's hindsight, of course. Our hindsight is 2020, and everybody's got that right now. But the time's come.
Absolutely,
right? I think the general public wave is certainly on that page.
Yeah,
and even if it doesn't do anything, geez, it looks better than what we're doing now.
What we're doing now seems to be little.
Not to be cynical.
Not to be cynical, of course. Okay, there's lots more for you to weigh in on with Brian this afternoon. As I mentioned earlier on the show, this is just like social distancing at its finest. You can still call in. We have a community conversation, and nobody has to be within 2 meters of each other. Kitchener Today with Brian Burke begins at noon. My name is Mike Farwell. Bye for now.
For Waterloo Region's best local news coverage, keep your radio tuned to CKGL 570 News. Kitchener.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
This is Rogers TV. Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
My running legs help me run, jump, and play football and basketball. Thanks to your support, the Wands have helped me get the legs that I have today. When I play basketball, I just feel like so happy. I just keep on going and I won't stop till I achieve what I want to achieve. My name is Sammy and I am a Warriors champ.
This is Rogers TV.
Hi, I'm Shayla Harold, host of Generation Z, and today we're talking to Mike Braga, the Vice President of BDO Canada. So thank you for joining us today to be talking about finances. So when we talk about Generation Z, it's about 28% of Canada's population. So how are we supposed to plan for the future of our finances?
So with this particular generation, we need to be careful because they're the first completely online generation. So there's a lot of information coming to them that wants to separate their money from, from them, and they're bombarded all the time. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So with this particular generation, financial literacy is extremely important. And getting that solid foundation right from the get-go, learning how to budget, learning how to properly operate a bank account, and use a credit card, these fundamentals are crucial so that they have long-term success. Because what they do right now is going to impact their credit rating and going to impact their future.
So how are we supposed to manage our money, though?
So usually what I suggest is in terms of money management, you always have to start with a budget. And so this is regardless of whether you just have that part-time job or you're trying to balance out or manage your scholarship funds. A budget is extremely important. And so what it does is it indicates how much money you have coming in to your bank account on a monthly or annual basis and where those dollars are being allocated. And so as soon as you have that plan, then you can start to actually figure out how you're going to spend and how you're going to portion things between bank accounts. Because oftentimes what will happen is we put everything in one bank account, so in one pot. And as we're going to the store, we're going out with our friends, we're tapping and we're not really conscious of how much money is coming out of that bank account. And so by having a plan and making sure we're going back to it all the time, we can keep track of all of our spending categories.
Okay. And going back, so what is credit?
Credit is, so essentially the bank is lending you dollars. So on your credit card, if you have a credit card or a small line of credit or even an overdraft on your bank account, those are not your money. The expectation is you're going to pay that back. So the bank is advancing you money right now, but in exchange, you're going to have to pay some interest rate. So there's a cost to borrowing that money. And so often what will happen is we'll put something on a credit card and we think we're doing fine because we're making our minimum monthly payments. But all of that interest is accumulating. And so if you take $1,000 credit card bill and all you do is pay the minimum payments based on what the bank is suggesting to you, it'll probably take you 3 years to pay that off. And the interest, by the time you're done, you're paying almost 50% more at a minimum. Because the interest rate is 20%, and most people in this generation aren't aware of the hidden costs or the interest rates that are associated with credit.
Okay, so managing debt, so are you just expected to get a second job? What if you don't have the time for that?
Basically, again, it comes down to the budget. So oftentimes you are going to need that credit card. And a credit card isn't evil and something that you need to avoid. In fact, it's something that 24-year-olds, 25-year-olds need to actually get to start building up their credit reporting, credit rating. It's how we use it. So keep in mind, if you're charging something on your credit card, what we want you to do is pay it off in full the next month. If you can't, what you need to do is pull that credit card out of your wallet, put it away somewhere, freeze it in a cup of water, and then pay at least the minimum payment. I suggest more than that, and until that balance is back to zero, you don't touch that credit card. And so that's how we're teaching people to use credit. Also, the other thing that's helpful for this generation, they've never seen cash before. So they're the tap and go generation. What I would like people to do is revert back to cash.
Okay.
So if you think 2 or 3 generations ago, when we were using cash, we would go to the grocery store with $100 or $75. That's all we would have to spend. So what we would do is we'd go around the store and we'd calculate how much we're spending and what's putting in the cart, and we would never go over because we knew as soon as we got to the cashier we only had $75. So we would do that calculation. Right now, that's not happening, and so what happens is we're putting extras into that basket or into your grocery cart. You're getting up to the cashier and you're just tapping away, and so those budget bleeders really add up at the end of the month.
Okay. So other than just going back to money, what are other ways to manage your budget?
The other way is actually setting up separate bank accounts. So what I suggest to people is you need a bank account for your general spending. Okay, and so you're going to put your money, most of your money in there based on your allocated categories. The other thing you need to do is have a separate bank account for your savings goals. Okay. An emergency is going to happen. Okay, and that's inevitable, and we want to put some money aside for that. We want to put it separate from the rest of our money because we don't want to be tempted to spend it unless it's an actual emergency. So having that separate bank account is important. For students, I usually recommend, in addition to having your general spending and your savings account, you're also going to be putting a third account for tuition scholarship dollars. Yeah. And that's just for those monies are going in there. It's to be used specifically for tuition, books, and those types of things.
Yeah, I know so many students, especially people that are about to go into post-secondary, are so worried about the debt that they're going to have to pay for student loans and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely, because the average student will come away from school with an undergraduate degree with $30,000 of debt. Yeah. This is at a time when then they come back into the workforce and they're wanting to get a place on their own. It's also at the time where they're thinking about a marriage is on the horizon, they're having kids, and so there's a lot of pressure, and carrying that debt can really put you behind the 8 ball. So we really recommend that we consider how much we're going to spend on university, and if it's really something that is going to be fruitful. So before you go into the program, make sure it's going to be a field that you enjoy. So do some volunteer work in advance. Perhaps for some individuals, get a part-time job or work a year before you go to school, just to have that reserve of dollars so you're not accumulating the debt. The positive thing is this generation, so Generation C, we're seeing that. They're opting more for the 2-year diploma programs as opposed to the 4-year undergrad. They are doing a lot of this volunteerism or building up their work resumes, which is excellent to see because they will come away with it, or their average debt has been about $12,000, which is half of what previous generations are coming away with. Yeah. So is there any last things that you want to say about finances, debt, credit?
The budget is extremely important. If people don't take anything away from this segment, setting up a plan, knowing where your dollars are coming from and where you're spending it is extremely important because that's going to guide all of your future decisions.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Please stay tuned. Coming up next, we're talking with some of the Kitchener Rangers.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Find out what's trending. Join me, Aliyah Ali, as I explore Waterloo region and beyond, looking for trendy ideas. #Trending, Thursdays at 7 p.m., only on Rogers TV.
Monsieur de Champlain, when I finish paddling through this wilderness and reach China, I shall greet them wearing this.
Monsieur Nicolet, your mission shall be for the honor of the king and the Holy Faith.
In the summer of 1634, Jean Nicolet set off from Quebec to find a trade route that would link Europe and North America with China.
But where is it?
Further. I know the place you are seeking.
For months, Nicolet pushed through the wilderness, searching for the Western Sea.
Goja! Mississippi!
What did he say?
He says, Mississippi, great water.
Mississippi, the sea, China.
Jean Nicolet was wrong. It was Lake Michigan, not the Pacific. But others would follow his dream. Joliet, La Salle, the La Vérendrys, and they would map most of North America from the Rockies to the Gulf of Mexico.
Welcome back to Generation Z. Today we're sitting here with two Kitchener Rangers, Jonathan Yansis and Reed Vlad.
Reed Vlad in. Vlad makes a move. Yansis scores! Right, back to Petitian to Vlad going right, he scores! What a goal by Reed Vlad and Petitian.
Will you let us know a little bit about yourself before we start?
I'm 20 years old. I'm from Markham, which is right outside Toronto. I've been with the Rangers for the last 4 years, and
I'm 17, turning 18 in a month. I'm from Caledon, Ontario. This is my second year with the Rangers.
So what's it like living away from home?
I moved away when I was 17, so it was kind of like really different, especially from everyone else because they're still in high school back home when you're moving out. So it's not that big a difference because you got your billet family that takes care of you. They're still doing your laundry. They're still making you food. So you're not that independent, but you still got to grow up and you're scheduling more things by yourself. You're doing more things by yourself. And I don't know what it's like for Reed.
Yeah, basically the same. I moved when I was 16, and the biggest thing is you become a lot more independent and you kind of have to figure things out on your own really quick. But, with the support of your team and your billet family, it's a pretty easy transition.
So you're still in high school, eh?
Yeah.
How do you juggle both playing hockey and high school?
At times it can be difficult, but it just takes a lot of planning ahead and looking forward to what the schedule is bringing and just kind of making time for everything and seeing when those times that maybe you have a little bit of a time off the ice, you can go and get that work done.
And Jonathan, you're still in post-secondary, eh?
Yeah, I'm at Laurier, so it's quite different because for university we're taking online courses, or you get one course where if you can find one, you're getting one where you're either 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. at night, and then you're left by yourself to do all the work. So it's kind of hard to juggle it, but at the same time, it's nice to have something else to focus on other than focusing on hockey all the time, because that really drains you, and it's really hard to be just one thing, just focusing on hockey. The school gives you a different outlet to pursue different things.
Yeah, what program are you taking?
I'm in economics.
Cool. So can you guys talk about your best hockey moment you've had? Either one.
You can go ahead.
It's tough to narrow it down to just one. I think just enjoying all the little things, like playing my first game here was obviously really cool, and I just kind of enjoy playing hockey all the time. So really, all those experiences, I just like taking them in and having fun with them.
I think for me, probably last year, our last home game, it went pretty well. So I had a hat trick in the second period to put myself at 50 goals, which is definitely one of the biggest accomplishments I've had, and it was pretty special.
Yeah. So where do you guys see yourselves in a few years?
Go ahead.
I'm taking it day by day. I'm not really looking too far into the future, whether it's school or whether it's professional hockey. I'm not focusing on that right now. Reed, probably the NHL.
Yeah, same as him. I'm just kind of focused on getting better right now, and getting better every day that I'm here and working on things that I need to. So trying not to look too far into the future on that.
Okay, cool. Is there something that you want to complete in your hockey career that you haven't yet?
Obviously win the Memorial Cup.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing right now. We all got to come together, focus on one goal.
Yeah, we have a really good team this year and an opportunity to do something big. So we all just kind of got to get together here down the stretch and work towards that.
Yeah. So what is the Memorial Cup?
It's the championship for all Canadian junior hockey, all major junior. So it's the 3 leagues: WHL, QMJHL, and then us. Okay. And you got to win your playoffs to head there.
Okay. So how would you accomplish that?
You have to win 4 rounds of playoffs in the Ontario League, and then there's a round robin in the Memorial Cup, and then you got to win in the round robin, you got to win the semifinals, and then you got to win the finals. Yeah.
So is there somebody that really inspired you in your career of hockey?
Yeah, growing up, I've had a big support group from my family, so they used to play when they were growing up, and they all loved the sport to watch, come out and watch and play as well. So just kind of doing it for them always inspires me to work harder, and the amount of effort and support they put into it, that's kind of motivation for me to do well.
Same thing for me. Like, my biggest supporters have always been my family, but it's a little different. They didn't grow up playing hockey. They moved here from Greece and they all played soccer. So my grandfather was always one of my biggest supporters. He was driving me to games because my 2 other siblings also played sports. So he would drive me to games, drive me to practices, and it's just little things like that they did for me. It's really helped me get to where I am.
Yeah. Which hockey player do you guys look up to the most?
I'd probably say one of my old coaches, Dan Sullivan, coached me in minor hockey. He's just one of those guys that I could always kind of go and talk to, whether it's about something good or something bad that maybe I need help with. He's just been kind of one of those guys that I met through the game, and I'm still really close with today.
For me, it was definitely my favorite player growing up was Pavel Datsyuk. We don't really play the same game, but just watching what he did was quite special. And then also one of the coaches that had the biggest influence on me, he played for the Leafs throughout the 80s, 70s, 80s. Dan Daou, he really helped me get me where I am, and he talked a lot about what it's like to be a pro and what it's like to do your job every day.
Yeah. So how long have you guys been playing hockey, though, if you started watching it when you were younger?
I started playing when I was 3 or 4, I want to say so.
I started playing at 3 too.
Yeah, how much time have you guys put in roughly in your life to get yourself where you are today?
It's been a lot.
It's been a lot. Like, I don't know if you can put a number on it, because when you're little, you're doing it 3 or 4 times a week, and then right now we're doing it 6 or 7 days a week, so it's not really something you can quantify.
Okay.
But if it's 10,000 hours to be a master at something, I'm pretty sure everyone in the league would be a master at it.
Yeah.
So is there anything you want to share to any Rangers or future Rangers where they want to be where you are today?
Just work hard and have fun if you have goals. Don't let anything get in the way of those goals, and just go out and work towards every day and make sure you're having fun with it too.
Yeah.
And don't let the little things deter you. There's going to be a lot of setbacks, but you got to keep on working.
Yeah, what's been your biggest struggle you've had in hockey? Like any major injuries, anything like that?
Yeah, earlier this season I suffered a concussion, so that was kind of hard to come back from and get back to my game. And right now I have an upper body injury, so it's little things like that kind of set people back sometimes, but it's all about how you respond from it. So.
Yeah.
For myself, I haven't really been, in my draft years, I haven't been like a top prospect. I wasn't drafted to the OHL, and then haven't been drafted to the NHL, so it's just working through little things like that. Like, some people might get deterred, and then just got to work through it.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Please stick around. There's more Generation Z after the break.
Dear everybody, you'll see thousands of images today. Here are 3 you won't see.
A girl who uses a walker eating ice cream with her friends.
A young woman with a prosthetic leg modeling the latest denim trends.
A kid who uses a wheelchair busting a dance move.
You're influenced by the images you see and the ones you don't. It's time to include disability in the picture. Sign Holland Bloorview's Dear Everybody agreement and help create a world without stigma for kids and youth with disabilities. Visit deareverybody.ca.
I'm Constable Daryl Paquette, Police Coordinator for Waterloo Regional Crime Stoppers. Crime Stoppers are looking for your information to help identify and arrest the person responsible for these robberies. Waterloo Regional Police are seeking the public's assistance in identifying a male in connection to 5 robberies that have occurred at convenience stores in Cambridge between January 5th and February 9th, 2020. On January 5th, 2020, a male robbed a convenience store on Myers Road in Cambridge. On January 23rd, a male robbed a convenience store on Water Street South in Cambridge. On January 30th, February 1st, and 9th, a male robbed the same convenience store on Christopher Drive in Cambridge. During each incident, the male demanded cash and/or cigarettes from employees. No weapons were ever seen, and no one was physically injured. Investigators believe the same male is responsible for all incidents. Crime Stoppers will pay a cash reward for any information leading to an arrest in this incident or any other serious crime. You won't be asked to identify yourself or testify in court.
Welcome back to Generation Z. I'm here with Danyan Vasey as well as Arisa Aran. So they're the youth service coordinators of the City of Kitchener. So today we're here to talk about the Kitchener Youth Awards. What is that?
So basically it's an event to recognize and bring awareness to youth who are making a contribution to all over our community.
Yeah.
The event is a yearly event that the Youth Council, so Kayak, the Kitchener Youth Action Council, hosts to celebrate and bring awareness to what youth are doing in our community every single day, and to sort of change some stigma that typically is heard about youth and young people. It happens during National Youth Week, which is May 1st to May 7th, so it's a celebration that we have. But really it's just about bringing awareness and trying to help our community to see what young people are doing every day that goes unnoticed, and it's amazing.
So is there one, or are there categories?
So there's 12 different categories. There are 11 for youth and 1 for adults, and some examples are like entrepreneurship and sports and recreation, and there's a group award, and for anyone that's 25 or older, there's a Youth Ally Award. And, yeah.
We've tried to make the categories, or the youth have made the categories broad enough that it hopefully can find someone can identify with one of the categories in the work that they're doing. The newest category that we've had, and it's only been a few years, is the Adult Ally one, which is trying to give recognition to an adult who helps to inspire and work with young people. Traditionally, it seems to have been awarded to someone that's like a teacher or a coach, but it could be someone that's just a positive role model every day to young people. So it's young people recognizing an adult now in return, which is pretty neat.
Yeah. So other than the adult division, what's the age bracket that you have to be to apply to this?
So the age bracket for a youth who's being nominated is between 14 and 24 years old. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Is it a self-application, or, as you said, sponsorship? Or does somebody else apply for you?
So to be nominated, it is required that someone else nominates you, and it's a really simple process. We've kept it as simple as possible. It's really simple stuff, and there's nothing formal about it, but it's just like what they've done in the past or what they're doing currently, and just how they contribute and how they relate to that category they're being nominated for.
Yeah, we're really trying to spread awareness of what young people are doing. We're not necessarily looking to have a big repertoire of experience. We're not looking for 5 pages of what young people are doing, but really tailoring it to that category. So you're able to nominate a young person up to 3 categories if you choose to. Yeah. 1 is great, but you could go up to 3 depending on what they're doing. And each one's probably roughly equivalent to a paragraph. So we're really kind of looking at what did they do as related to the category, and then why do you feel that they should be recognized from Kayak for the actual award.
So what's the deadline for it?
The deadline to be nominated is the April 3rd this year. Yeah.
So who do you have as the judges? What's the criteria that you need?
So each of our award sponsors, so each of the categories are sponsored by a community partner or a business who financially contribute to helping Kayak host the event. So they're a part of it. We do invite the mayor and members of council to attend, as well as there's some senior management with the City of Kitchener, and of course members of Kayak. So it can vary in sizes, but realistically it's between 15 to 20 people. So there's quite a bit of opinions and suggestions on kind of selecting the winner. But what I appreciate most about this event is that the focus isn't really about the winners, it's about everyone who's nominated. Yeah. So everyone who's nominated is invited with whoever they want to bring to the event, and they're all recognized with the token of appreciation that's all the same, regardless if you're the winner or not. The winners just receive a little bit more, but they're all recognized and celebrated at the event, which I think is unlike some other events that I've seen in the past as it relates to a award or picking a winner.
Yeah, so when will the Youth Awards be presented?
The date of the event is the May 6th. Yeah.
Okay. If you want to cheer someone on, you can attend, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Every person who's nominated receives an invitation from Kayak. They're able to bring as many guests as they want. We just sort of ask for informal RSVP, so we sort of know how much to prepare for in terms of snacks and refreshments. But it is an open event that's open to the public, and it's held at the City Hall, Kitchener City Hall Rotunda.
Okay, so where can we go to find more information about this event?
Hopefully you can see some posters. They're pretty much spread around our City of Kitchener facilities, and Kayak has been distributed them as best that they can within their schools, but certainly on our website, www.kitchener.ca/youth awards.
So can you talk about the last years of winners and what they've accomplished?
Okay, so, well, basically it's just all the nominations were of youth who have made a contribution to the community, like activism and just being involved in a group or, they could have like started a business, and there was a very diverse group of nominations, and I could go on and on about them. But
yeah, we've had some award winners who have taken a cause that they're passionate about and maybe created a business. We've had some who wrote a play or helped with the screenwrite. Yeah. We've had some who, have done some intergenerational work, working with people with dementia and making sure that they have opportunities to recreation. So it can be things that are doing in their school community, things that are happening in the City of Kitchener or the geographical region of the City of Kitchener, as well as things that they could be doing in their own personal life. So they don't necessarily have to go out and do something. If they don't have something, hopefully they can go do something, but it's certainly recognizing a lot of the things they're probably doing every day in their life and just having an adult recognize that and hopefully nominate them to continue motivating them for future involvement.
Does it have to be an adult that nominates them, or can a friend nominate another friend?
No, for sure. Yeah, sorry. It can be anyone that can nominate them. Traditionally, we probably see a lot more adults nominate, but certainly young people can also self-reflect on a peer and nominate them as well.
Okay, that's great. So what do you love most about this program?
My favorite part about the Youth Awards event is being able to recognize the people who have been nominated at the actual event. So I'm privy to be able to read all the nominations ahead of time. And so it's really amazing to see them face to face and sort of ask them questions, to see the shock on their face when they realize they're maybe selected as the award winner. But there's a lot of pride in the room. There's a lot of parents who are supporting, or other loved ones or adult role models that are coming out to support those young persons or people at the event. So that's, to me, the best part, is seeing their faces and putting a face to the name. The other piece is when we see the nominators come out to the event. So those coaches, those teachers, those adult role models, their friends who've nominated them, coming out to support them is pretty amazing. And for them to know that someone took the time to nominate them and recognize their contributions can be life-changing. We hear back from past nominees and past winners all the time, in particular right after the event, but certainly as they progress to maybe post-secondary or to other adventures, and they've always referred back to me as saying that was the moment where it kind of clicked for them, to know that their efforts were recognized, and that kind of motivated them to either pursue another experience through volunteering or being involved, or maybe motivated others to do the same.
Okay, that's great. So what's the most important thing you can do right now?
So right now what you can do is visit the website and nominate anyone you know, like a youth or an ally who has done something great in the community and contributed to it, and just nominate them and give them a chance to be recognized.
Yeah, thank you so much
for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Generation Z.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
At St. John Ambulance, we're all about community. We teach life-saving skills and provide community support through our volunteer services. All St. John Ambulance product sales and training registrations support these important services. Volunteer, donate, or enroll in a program today so we can continue to have an impact on our community. Visit sja.ca to learn more. At St. John Ambulance, we do more than save lives, we change lives.
This is Rogers TV.
And again, welcome to my kitchen. The last few episodes have been about my travel experiences and flavors that are infused into these recipes from those experiences. We've visited England. Now today we're headed to France. One of my bucket list vacations was to go to Paris, France, and I had the opportunity to go there a few years ago, and it did not disappoint. The baked goods, the food, the atmosphere, it is just everything you dream it to be. So today I'm going to introduce you to a couple of things that I fell in love with while I was there. One of those is, some people call it a cookie, some people call it a little cake. It's the Madeleine. It's this beautiful little scalloped treat that every time you ordered a coffee while you were there, they would usually have one on the side of the saucer, and you just enjoyed it. You could dip it in your coffee or just devour it all on its own. So it is one of those more kind of technical, probably a little more fiddly of a recipe than I normally make, especially for the quantity of the recipe that you get. But again, this isn't something that people are eating, you know, several of at a time. It's a complement to a beverage. So if you're having some ladies over for a cup of coffee in the afternoon to catch up on what's going on, this is the perfect accompaniment. And once you master a basic recipe, you can certainly make your own variations. So to get started, we're going to start with 2 room temperature eggs. We're going to just break those right into our mixer. This is one of those times where you're going to want a stand-up mixer, because this recipe does take about a good 10 minutes to really come to fruition. So 2 eggs, we're gonna get those beating. And we're gonna add about 3/4 of a teaspoon or just a little, you know, drop of vanilla. I always use pure vanilla, so it's very flavorful. This is actually beautiful vanilla right from Mexico. My sister so thoughtfully brought that back for me. Oh, I dropped a bit on there. So we're gonna incorporate our eggs and our vanilla, and we're just gonna beat it until it, you know, starts to get light in texture and all of the egg is nice and beat and whippy. I don't know what the technical term for that is. So as that's happening, then we're gonna add a little bit of sugar. We're gonna add 1/3 cup of sugar. We want to make sure that's nice and level. And then once the sugar is there, we're going to let this kind of do its magic for almost 10 minutes before we start to fold in our flour and our butter. So I'm just going to give this a little bit of a stir. Make sure all that sugar is incorporated, and it's just gonna do its thing, and it's gonna really change in texture. It's gonna become lighter, a little more ribbony, because all of that air is getting into it while it's beating. So while it's doing that, I'm going to zest a lemon. We're gonna incorporate some lemon into our cookie. I love lemon. The ones that I had mostly in France had lemon in them. They were lovely. So we are gonna be putting some butter into this mixture as well. We're gonna be putting a 1/4 cup of butter in. What you wanna do is, before you get going, you actually want to melt your butter. It has to be melted, not just softened like a lot of recipes. So you're gonna melt it. You're gonna kind of want it to come to more room temperature, because you don't wanna put hot butter in there. It's gonna kind of curdle everything. So I've got this here just sitting aside while my ribbons are happening. This isn't a grater, well, it's a grater on one side, but it's a rasp on the other. So, because you want really fine lemon, you don't want big grated pieces. This is a delicate cookie, so you want delicate flavors. You could use orange if you wanted. You could omit a little bit of the flour once we get to that point, and add a little bit of cocoa if you want a chocolate madeleine. So many different options. Add different extracts if you want an almond. So again, it's a very versatile cookie. Just like I said, it's a little bit of a labor of love, because you get about 12 madeleines